Alex Barchesi from GARR. We present this GARRbage collection.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure I want to do this in English because it's the last presentation, but I see Alison over there, so I will do that. I mean, it makes no real difference to me. But anyway, I'm from GARR. You know everything about GARR from a previous presentation, so I can stretch my presentation a little bit more. The title comes from a joke actually, but we decided to keep it. GARRbage collection, because what we did during this last few years, and mostly the last year, was to try to figure out how to collect all the data centers from research institutes in Italy and put together into a sort of collective infrastructure. And this is to catch your attention because I think all of you are tired, and it comes from a week ago. I was at a workshop of flying trapeze, and my teacher told me about the trapeze, that it's not flying until you fly, so until you leave the trapeze. And it's the same thing to me somehow. I mean, no, we speak about open infrastructure, so no infrastructure is open until you really open it. So what we are aiming to do, and I will recap quickly the GARR mission, is to open the infrastructure. So, and this is perfectly compliant with the mission of GARR. The slide is cut, but it doesn't matter because it was in Italian. Basically, GARR comes out to harmonize and implement and manage infrastructure, I mean e-infrastructure in the benefit of the overall scientific and academic community in Italy. And so, well, and several other things, but you already know the players, etc. So the role translated into this scope to me is resource aggregation. So federation is kind of the natural development of this idea of resource aggregators. So our goal into trying to do this was provisioning storage and computing simply, and to serve all the different organizations that are in Italy, mostly the smallest one that are not really, that do not have enough, let's say, manpower to take care of their own infrastructure, and to simplify the experience, which for this scope is, I mean, the experience of the administrators, not only of the users. Quickly, this was already mentioned, we originally dealt with an infrastructure that is average, 8,500 cores and 10 petabytes of storage spread into 5 data centers connected with redundant fibers at 40 gigabits. And we developed, I mean, we deployed actually a 3-region OpenStack service, multi-region installation. That was quite standard, with global services that are, as you may imagine, tribaled into 3 data centers with a mechanism of proxying through DNS. So the identity and the image services are provided, are exposed with a single endpoint, and the same thing for local services. I mean, I'll go quickly through this because I guess everyone will probably grasp it super quickly. So what we discovered, I mean, after a while trying to deal with OpenStack with different approaches, first with Keybird, then through Ansible, and then we discovered that there were 2 magical tools from Canonical, and namely Mass and Juju, that are quite handy for large infrastructure that do the magic of bringing us from the physical server layer, installing the operating system, configuring everything, slicing the hardware into Linux container when needed, and with a nice support to ask impossible question and have an answer at least, and made what we wanted, and we provided these things to the community. So the recipe was simple. I mean, after all, it was a recipe, It worked. And so we thought that it could work for other institutes to recycle all the effort that took quite a while, a couple of years at least, towards the community that GARR basically is composed by. And our concept of federation is this one, basically. So the experience of hot water and the complexity of a heater. So we want to bring the experience of hot water to the system administrator. So the simplest the federation for the region administrator, the better to us. And the less requirement, the more inclusive. So this is why I was asking you, how much flexible do you feel? So the idea was super simple. Multi-region, multi-domain model with a shared identity service, and in case needed, image services and dashboard. And each region has its own deployment of OpenStack. I mean, as soon as it's a modern one, it's okay. So you can share identity, and that's it. So this was at least the first stage. What is the procedure of inclusion is quite simple as well. So we provide usually a bundle of OpenStack that is a recipe in the mass Juju ecosystem, and this should usually give you the virtualized version of your data center. Then we have a quick validation cluster that we motivated from the network GARRbage, so we call it DMZ. Demilitarized whatever zone, even if it's nothing to do with networking. So we have a cluster, a validation cluster. We attach your cluster to our cluster without clear text credential exchange, which was only the only requirement we had. And basically, there are several, for research institutes that belong to the community, there are several different entry points. So you have hardware, but not enough manpower, you can join your data center. We figure out how to take care of that. You already have an OpenStack deployment. We can figure out how to attach to our keys if you're interested, and so on and so forth. But it's not only community, not only GARR community that we are trying to give back, because we took a lot from the overall community. So everything is publicly available. I'll put a couple of links in another slide. And we try as much as possible to contribute, to push our contribution upstream into different projects, namely Ryzen. We dealt with this Kubernetes keystone cross-authentication. We developed several, we contributed to several charms. There is still Juju ecosystem, namely Ceph keystone, to add single sign-on into some ecosystem that is something that belongs to research. Well, and so on and so forth. One thing that, during this long path towards figuring out how to do this was delegation of authority. So every research responsible would ask this, and we faced several times this question, okay, what happened to my data center if I give you my data center? You're not giving me. We're simply, you stay in control. It's like putting wallpaper on a room. I provide the wallpaper, then the room stays in your control. And this is what we wanted to achieve, and we're still working a little, to refine this model of delegation, because if someone worked with policy.json knows that it's a hell of an issue. But basically the idea is the cloud administrator or the identity administrator manages the identity only, and plugging and unplugging the regions. All the rest stays in control to the local region administrator. Requirements, what's needed to do this? Basically almost nothing. We don't have real requirements. We give some prescriptions that comes from our experience. From several trial and errors installing and deploying regions and so on. So basically, a couple of prescriptions about what kind of private and public network, if you want to use VLAN, what kind of VLAN, number of floating IPs that you should need to reserve, and this kind of things. I mean, best practices, I would say. And same thing for the parts that you need to ask your system administrator to order on your firewall, and same thing for how to make this nice layer mask Juju, which is a little bit lacking of documentation. So if you can pass the information, I would appreciate, Lorenzo. So how to put everything in high availability, how to avoid some, to use some tricks to avoid issues that we faced that are somehow hidden at the first sight. And what you get is a relatively easy administration layer that relies on mass that provides towards Juju your servers or virtual machine or container, whatever, and Juju takes care of configuring and keeping the configuration and the configuration of a service that in this case is OpenStack or Kubernetes. Actually, we evolved parallelly, in parallel also Kubernetes platform that we're not federated yet. But. So this is the links that I promised before, and this is the first pillar, let's say. And what's available till now? Quite a lot. Most of the things that are on the upper part of the slide have been mentioned by Claudio, so we'll skip. And it's more related to the first phase when we were providing resources to the long tail of science. What we have, and I'm proud of, is a simple federation recipe. So there is a Git still growing with all the use cases inside. There is a knowledge base that costs us a lot of effort, more than deploying. And we're really forcing we're kicking us to put all the information, or as much information as possible over there. And there is a reference architecture with several use cases. And we're proud to say that once your network is set up, once you plug your cable and slice your switch with the correct VLAN, you have your OpenStack region up and running from there in a couple of hours. And there are several institutions that tried it and succeed. And not only federated with us, but there is all the East Europe that through a giant project called the EIP, East European and whatever, EIP Connect, that embraced the model and built their own federation. The same thing will do INGV, the National Institute for Geophysics in Italy. They will basically cloudify with the same approach the three seismic seismic, I don't know the English for this, but basically it will be a 3-region cloud for seismic monitoring. And next steps. What is lacking is basically governance. So we need to sit around the table with all the players that are interested in playing this game and define the rules. Because, the more the federation grows, the more this is a lacking point and it's needed. Accounting, and I promise to put blockchain as a buzzword in my presentation, so here it is. Blockchain could be an option for accounting, but could also not be. And since several communities are embracing the model, we'll start thinking about federation of federations, which would solve several also, let's say, political issues if you want. Because, okay, if your institute, which, will be super happy to migrate the mail servers on the cloud that doesn't want to pass through GARR identity, you will have your own identity. And Keystone foresee the possibility to work like IDP SP and vice versa. So my Keystone will be your identity provider and vice versa, and your Keystone will be my service provider and vice versa. So I will trust your users and you will trust mine. And this could be an option at least. Well, I think these are the remaining pillars basically to build a cathedral. So if someone, belonging to any kind of institution is interested, drop me a line and we'll figure out to put together a working group and see whatever. Thank you.